I bet you think you're gonna have chicks all over you when you get that fast and flashy supercar. Wrong. A lot of men have no idea what cars girls really like. Lucky for you, I'm gonna fill you in on a little secret. Having the most extravagant street cruiser isn't gonna win over the ladies. But then again, neither is an underpowered half electric. At the end of the day, the kind of car you drive shows a bit about your personality. I'm not sure what that says for Brad Danger. You've seen that 997. I think the taste police should arrest him. And maybe I should shut off his credit card so he can stop buying accessories for it.
No! God, please, no! No!
Driving the wrong one could have women running the opposite direction. So listen up. I'm gonna tell you the 9 cars girls hate, plus 1 honorable mention. Can we bring this back?
Nope.
Let's get into it. The Alfa 4C is definitely one of the top cars that women can't stand. This is the epitome of a car that guys think is so cool. And as a woman, I don't even want to look at it. Gosh, but guys think it's so cool. That body design is so bad, it's like the equivalent of guys challenging each other to a push-up contest. And no woman wants to see that. It's just so over-the-top flashy, it sends a clear message that you're compensating for some major insecurities. Plus, if you've ever driven in a 4C, you'll see that they're equally as rough to ride in as they are to look at. For starters, inside the cabin, the jet engine-like decibels and sounds due to the lack of insulation make it so you can barely talk to whoever's riding shotgun. Now that may sound ideal for men, but it's not great for the ladies who are riding shotgun. We actually want to hear what you have to say, and we want to have a conversation.
And it's a perfect day for a drive.
Aw, Trixie, please stop talking. I'm trying to figure something out.
So, hey, if you want to be single, maybe this is the right car for you. And let's talk about those blind spots. The blind spots in the 4C are huge. It's like you could have a pack of lions chasing down your car, and you wouldn't even see them. That being said, the Alfa 4C is just all around awful. But for how bad the 4C is, it's still not quite as fugly as this next car. This next car is the holy grail of hypermasculinity. If you didn't know this car was gonna be on this list, it's probably because you own a Hummer or you're thinking about getting one. No woman in the history of time has ever been happy riding shotgun in a Hummer. Do you know one? Ever? Has any woman ever bragged about this? And on top of that, have you ever heard a woman say, oh wow, look at that guy driving a Hummer. I bet he's super secure in his masculinity. Hummers are overbearing, over-aggressive, and are basically a beacon to the world that you're overcompensating for something. Are you? Not to mention the fact that they get like 10 miles to the gallon and are extremely difficult to drive. Hummers are just the peak of impracticality. Note how I didn't specify which Hummer? That's because it doesn't matter. They're all equally awful and universally appalling to women. While this next car might give you better chances with a girl than a Hummer, that might go up in flames, literally.
Oh,
if you drive a Dodge Neon. Dodge has had a few major failures over the history of the company. And the Neon, it sits right at the top of that list. To be extremely specific, the 2005 Dodge Neon is quite possibly one of the worst cars ever made. It's an absolute repellent to women. So if that's what you're trying to avoid, pick one up. In 2005, they had to do a recall on the Neon engines because the carburetors would ignite and literally explode. I'm not talking about the exploding kittens game. I'm talking about your engine in your '05 Neon. Doesn't look good. Forget just women hating this car. Everyone should run for the hills when they see an '05 Dodge Neon. Despite being a death trap, the Neon is pretty unattractive as well. The body looks like they left it in a wind tunnel too long. The spoiler on the back looks exceptionally dumb. And the crazy low ground clearance looks trashy and makes it so you could bottom out on a golf ball. I mean, if you're younger, it's kind of cool. It feels like you're driving around in a go-kart, but not to pick up your date. There is one way, however, that they could make this car even uglier. They could paint it neon colors.
bruh.
Yet a car that may still be even more unappealing to women is the super douchey meathead machine that's up next. When you're a kid, playing Hot Wheels is totally cool, but at a certain point, you gotta outgrow your old toys. I mean, this is a further conversation for you and your mom, but you gotta outgrow them. The Lotus EXIGE is exactly the kind of overstyled exotic sports car that guys think is super sick. Sick, bro. Unfortunately, it looks like a surefire sign of immaturity to women. Trust me, If you're a guy and you think you're gonna impress the ladies by pulling up in your Lotus EXIGE, you're wrong. Well, that isn't unless you like gold diggers, because these cars do look like they cost a lot of money, even if they are flashy and classless. Plus, there are some major flaws with the EXIGE's design. The narrow door slots make it so you have to be as flexible as a small cat to get in. But most ladies' pants are too tight and they're not gonna be able to squeeze in. It's not gonna just be awkward for you, it's gonna be really embarrassing for them. Let's avoid that. And once the ladies are inside, the seats are about as comfortable as sitting on jagged rocks. That does not sound like a car that I wanna be picked up in for my next date. One of my main questions though, is why on earth would they put a supercharger right behind the passenger's head? Can anyone explain that? If you're gonna spend all that money on the Lotus, why not get something without so many glaring design flaws? And better yet, something that's not so repulsive to women. While over-the-top sports cars are a bad way to impress a woman, so are underpowered little snowballs like the Chevy Spark. So I've already told you about a whole lot of cars that are over-aggressive, over-the-top, and clear-cut signs of overcompensation. And I know men say they don't understand women, and it's rightfully so, because at the end of the day, women also aren't impressed by quiet-as-a-mouse toy cars with under 100 horsepower. Even the newest 2020 Spark has a wimpy 98 horses coming from its scrawny 1.4-liter four-cylinder. As a matter of fact, this little subcompact feels like it struggles to get its wheels turning at all. And the interior is equally as depressing as that unattractive exterior and lackluster engine. The whole cabin feels clunky, and it's just straight up not comfortable to drive. The best way to ruin a date? Well, one, show up late. But the second best way to ruin a date is for a woman to get in your car and immediately feel like she's sitting on sheetrock. Buying this next car is definitely a major red flag and a sign of less than great taste. I'm sorry. I don't care how great of a deal you got on that used 2017 Kia Soul. You should have gone with something else. Pretty much anything else, as long as it wasn't on this list. You could have got a Volkswagen Jetta or a Mazda 3. I mean, why would you get a Kia Soul? Why would Kia choose to take a cardboard box and slap 4 wheels on it? Your guess is as good as mine. But I can tell you with absolute certainty, women are not into it. Okay, it gets some points though, for low MSRP value and good fuel efficiency. But all of those are lost with just one look at the exterior. But honestly, the girls might love the commercials because they are cute. There's cute little hamsters driving them around instead of people. But that's not gonna make ladies wanna ride in that car. They're just gonna think the ads are cute and they're gonna laugh at them. But they're also gonna laugh at you if you roll up in that to pick them up to take them out. I guess Kia was trying to come up with a quirky commercial for a quirky looking car. They succeeded, but in my opinion, and I'm sure the opinion of a lot of other women, is that the Kia Soul is just plain weird. If you do have a Kia Soul, you probably got it for cheap. Congrats on that. Unlike this next car, which guys spend tons of money on because they think it's gonna impress the ladies. Wrong. You might be motivated to get yourself a 6-figure supercar because you think it's gonna look good on your Tinder profile. But are you sure it's not gonna scream douche? I would hold off on emptying your bank account into a brand new Lamborghini Huracan because they're retailing at just over $212,000 MSRP. Sure, driving a Huracan or just a Lambo in general shows you have some serious money in the bank, or maybe a money management problem, or that you're spending daddy's money. It's no secret that women like money just as much as men do, and actually, maybe just slightly less, and maybe that's why women don't like this car, because we're practical. In the Huracan, might be the worst of the worst when it comes to desperate to impress syndrome. It really sends the message that you need everyone to know how much money you have. You're better off going with something with a bit more class. Something like an Audi R8 with a V10 that costs less and has comparable horsepower. It also doesn't make women assume that you're conceited. And this next car won't make people assume that there's a douche in the driver's seat, but it's probably gonna leave women thoroughly unimpressed. Okay, first of all, it's very commendable that you wanna help save the planet and drive a hybrid or an EV, but let's be honest, there's a big difference between a smart car for two and a Tesla Model S. And if you can't figure that out, you're gonna need extra help. One of them can hit 250 miles per hour and revs up to 500 horsepower. The other one has 89 horsepower and can't hit 100 miles per hour if you floor it down a mountain. Maybe you should just drive it off a cliff. There's just no other way to say it. The smart car for two is for people who get cut in line and don't say anything about it, or those who are too afraid to tell their mom about their new girlfriend. The upside for the FORTWO is obviously the fuel economy and relatively low price. Just know that if you drive one of these, you might hear girls giggling at you wherever you go. I promised you an honorable mention, so here it is. The Ford Transit, because it's more of a full-blown van than it is a car. But driving one of these, especially if it's a white one with no decals or logos painted on the side, it's a horrifyingly creepy sight for any woman. Are you showing up to paint the house? Like, I'm really confused why you would want to drive this. Driving a white Ford Transit basically sends the message that you want to remain anonymous, so no one can identify you to the police. And you need lots of storage space for...
Girls, girls, girls.
If you have a Ford Transit and you're thinking, what? I thought women would love how dependable and spacious my ride is. You should have gone with something smaller and a whole lot less creepy. Although the 4th generation Ford Transits are considerably more stylish and definitely give off less creepy van dude vibes than earlier generations, even if you get a new Ford Transit, you're still gonna be scaring women up and down the block. So if you're in the market for a new car, do all of us ladies a favor and don't buy any of the appalling ones that I've just listed. And that's all I've got for you today. I'm YouTube girlfriend, this is Ideal. As always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.